Hello guys, my name is Brian and today you're listening to Taylor's FM. Today we have expert to talk about symbiosis marine culture to the listeners. What is symbiosis, you ask? Symbiosis is the term describing any relationship or interaction between two dissimilar organisms. The specific kind of symbiosis depends on whether either or both organisms benefits from the relationship. There are five main symbiotic relationships: mutualism, commensalism, predation, parasitism, and competition. I'm going to talk about the main three symbiosis that you can see mostly everywhere. So the first one is mutualism. It's defined as interaction between individuals of the different species that result in positive effect on per capita reproduction and or survival of interacting population. The second one is commensalism. It is a type of relationship between two living organisms in which one organism benefits from the other without harming it. A commensal species benefits from another species by obtaining locomotion, shelter, food, or support from the host species which neither benefits nor is harmed. Commensalism ranges from brief interaction between species to lifelong symbiosis. The last one, and the most harmful one, is parasitism. Is a symbiosis in which one organism, the parasite, causes harm to another, the host, which the parasite utilizes as habitat and depends on for resource acquisition. Marine microbes are tiny organisms that live in marine environment and can only be seen under a microscope. They include cellular life forms. With all of that, we conclude the introduction by asking how can symbiosis be related with marine microbes. Now we have Lin Chen to talk about one of the examples of marine microbes. And thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Now, I'll first share an example of a symbiosis of marine culture and bacteria. The marine microbe which I want to talk about today is vibrofishery, also known as alivibro This marine microbe is a rod-shaped, gram-negative marine bacteria that can find free living in a mutualistic association with certain squids and fishes. They can also be found in most marine environments but aren't all that plentiful. When this microbe reaches a specific population density, it activates current sensing. Current sensing is a way how microbe communicates. This activates the ability to bioluminesce. Due to this reason, vibrofishery is a key research organism for examination of microbial bioluminescence and current sensing. In a symbiosis relationship with Hawaiian bobtail squid, vibrofishery also uses its bioluminescence ability to help Hawaiian bobtail squid to avoid predators. Here's how the relationship works. During initiations, the squid hatchling secrete a special mucus that attract vibrofishery into the squid-like organ, and vibrofishery use Hawaiian bobtail squid nutrient to grow and produce light. During nighttime, vibrofishery uses the bacterial bioluminescence to help camouflage Hawaiian bobtail squid by producing lights in the squid-like organ to project the light downward while swimming and camouflage the squid from the predator below. So the predator doesn't see any shadow above but a light that matches the moonlight. This symbiosis persists throughout the squid's lifetime and undergoes dynamic daily cycling. This is a quick look for mutualistic symbiosis relationship of vibrofishery and Hawaiian bobtail squid. For the next example of symbiosis, I will let Yi Xuan to share about the zooxanthellae and golden jellyfish.
Thank you, Chen Shen, for sharing. I'm Yishuan and I'll be sharing about the second example of marine microbe, which is zooxanthellae. Yes, I know the spelling of this word looks intimidating, but the more you say it, the more you get used to pronouncing it. Anyway, let's dive into a simple introduction of this marine microbe. Some simple facts about this microscopic algae is that they're photosynthetic, so they actually contain chlorophyll. As you can see in the picture on the bottom right corner, that's how they look under the microscope. They're spherical shaped and golden brown colored. Third fact about zooxanthellae is that they're also known as single-celled dinoflagellates because they are marine planktons. The last and most important fact is they either live in the water column as plankton or symbiotically inside the tissue of other organisms. They live in symbiosis with diverse marine invertebrates like dermosponges, corals, and nudibranchs. The symbiotic relationships zooxanthellae have with most organisms are mutualistic. One interesting example that I would like to share of zooxanthellae's symbiotic relationship is with the golden jellyfishes. Since most research focuses on the study of symbiosis between corals and zooxanthellae, there is a lack of knowledge about other symbiotic cnidarians such as jellyfishes. The golden jellyfish have zooxanthellae, the symbiotic algae living in their tissues. As you can see in figure 1, the golden brown substances in the jellyfish's legs are actually zooxanthellae. They have a beneficial relationship which is a mutualistic relationship. When jellyfish move or migrate across the ocean, they rotate around to ensure the algae obtains enough sunlight for photosynthesis. And then in return, the algae give the jellyfish some energy and nutrients they got from photosynthesis. So during this process, some nutrients that zooxanthellae provide to their jellyfish hosts include sugars, glycerol, and amino acids. The jellyfish gives zooxanthellae back carbon dioxide, phosphates, and nitrogen compounds. It's very interesting how two different organisms that live together can actually benefit each other for survival, right?
Hello, my name is Lee Junior, and just go through this simple summarization on an interesting research case study article on cephalopod gut microbiomes and the main factors that play a key role into almost every organism's gut microbiome, which are host phylogeny, habitat, and diet. So, glancing through this case study, the authors did a deep dive into the gut microbiome of cephalopods and found that the main driver for their microbiomes would be host phylogeny, as each cephalopod species each seem to share the same core genus Mycoplasma and Photobacterium, while diet and habitat barely affected the composition. What's interesting is that Microplasma is an obligate parasitic group, and yet it's still the core genus for most cephalopod species. It's been suggested that Mycoplasma plays a role in ammonia metabolism for cephalopods, as cephalopods are often carnivorous. Thus, this indicates that the symbiosis for both marine culture and bacteria, or well, in this case, the cephalopod family and the genus Mycoplasma, are dependent on one another, so much so that the composition has been heavily influenced on its evolution path.
My name is Sai Tong, and here I will talk about symbiosis in the sea and its pros and cons. Marine symbiosis plays many important roles in the Earth systems that influence our climate, are the major primary producers in the ocean, dictate much of the flow of marine energy and nutrients, and provide us with a source of medicines and natural products. Symbiotic relationships are an important component of life in marine environment. In such relationships, plants or animals with different species of microbes may be dependent on one another for survival. Sometimes one species benefits at the other expense, and in other cases, neither species benefit. Example of a bad symbiosis: some microsymbiotic relationships to cause harm. For example, the parasitism. The host is not immediately killed by the parasite, but it may sicken and die over time. Examples of common parasites found in the ocean include nematodes, leeches, and barnacles. Let's talk about barnacles. It's a highly specialized group of crustaceans. They have developed a sessile lifestyle as adults, attaching themselves to various substrates such as the rocks, ships, whales, or sea turtles. Most commonly found barnacles on the sea turtles belong to the genus Chelonibia. They do not harm the sea turtles since they only attach to the exterior of the shell or the skin. On the other hand, burrow into horse skin, causing irritation and providing an open target for further infections. Excessive barnacles growth might indicate the turtle's overall health. Sea turtles are often paralyzed first, then coated with barnacles and algae. Example of a good symbiosis: the Pompeii worm is a deep sea polychaete that resides in tube near hydrothermal vent. It can survive extreme temperatures by forming a symbiotic relationship with the protective fleece-like bacteria on its back. Living in a symbiotic relationship, the worm secretes mucus from tiny glands on their back to feed the bacteria, and in return, they are protected by some degree of insulation. The bacteria have also been discovered to be chemolithotrophic, contributing the ecology of vent community.
Thank you, Saitong. Hi, I'm Carlo. Before I talk about how the symbiosis of microbes with marine cultures helps to maintain the balance of marine ecosystem, let's think about what is marine ecosystem. According to National Geographic Society 2020, marine ecosystem is defined as a community in aquatic environment with high level of dissolved salt and the interactions between the living organisms in the environment. An ecosystem is said to be stable when the population of organisms in a particular community is enumerate. Now, you know about what is a marine ecosystem and what a stable ecosystem is. So I will now explain of microbes with marine cultures maintain the stability of the marine ecosystem by using the symbiotic relationship between coral and zooxanthellae as the example. First of all, essential nutrients provided in symbiosis relationship. Microorganism symbiote will produce nutrients needed by the host in a symbiotic relationship throughout the metabolism of the microbe. The mutualistic symbiosis between coral and the zooxanthellae, which is a photosynthetic algae, provide almost 90% of the essential nutrients needed for the growth of coral. Coral plays an important role in maintaining the marine because it acts as a shelter for many other marine animals and also help in nitrogen fixing. Other than that, marine ecosystem also will be stable when protection is provided to the organisms during the symbiotic relationship because they are able to survive and reproduce. The zooxanthellae will provide nutrients to the coral. In contrast, the coral will act as a habitat for the zooxanthellae that live in the surface tissue of the coral polyps and also helps giving color to the coral reefs. When the zooxanthellae is able to survive, the coral will be able to get sufficient nutrients to grow and thus play its role in maintaining the marine ecosystem. Lastly, the symbiosis relationship between microbes and the marine cultures will enable the microbe to be survive and function as decomposer in marine environment. Decomposers such as chemosynthetic bacteria will show symbiotic relationship with the host and get shelter from the host. These bacteria will decompose the waste or harmful substance in marine environment and generate useful products that might be needed by other marine organisms. Thank you. That's all from me. Let's pass the mic to Yuan San.
One of the importance of symbiosis in marine cultures and bacteria is to provide healthy ecosystem. As stated in a post by Errol Pesner, symbiosis between corals and zooxanthellae has allowed corals to grow successfully in tropical waters, which gives humans a prolific ecosystem. Besides zooxanthellae, coral holobiont, which are comprised of coral animal, bacteria, and other microorganisms, is also crucial for maintaining high productivity and healthy development of coral reef ecosystem. This further proves the symbiosis in marine cultures and bacteria helps to drive the diversity of ecosystem through advancing ecological succession and biodiversity formation. According to a journal, the symbiosis between epibiotic bacteria and crustacean larvae has protected crustacean larvae from fungal infection, which indicate the other importance of symbiosis in marine culture and bacteria is to provide protection. This is important because crustaceans are essential food source for both marine animals and humans. As a conclusion, symbiosis of marine cultures and bacteria are not only important for the survival of marine cultures and bacteria, but also for human and other organisms. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the scientists to talk about the presentations of marine microbes. Before we continue, here's the song by Justin Bieber, Ghost.